All right, here we are. Arkansas, baby. Driving through. Got the three boys. They're going to chime in with their conversations, or just their yapping. They are playing tablets right now, so hope you're all doing well. Enjoying your Mondays. You can sing her, dude. They made up their own phrases, so they like to just scream them out occasionally. So one of the books that I had them listen to, the very first leg of this road trip, was the book Chop Wood, Carry Water. So the focus is to be able to enjoy the process of whatever that is. Like, be more focused on building your character, who you are. And actually, just as we were driving through, Arkansas. Hey, what's up, girl? And this is a CC the Love shirt. Give him a shout out the entire day. I'll actually do a post later, just a carousel of CC the Love shirts on my road trip. This is my idea. So the interesting thing about driving through Arkansas was there's this city called Success. And that's totally how it is in life. I think oftentimes we have these like goals that we have, like either starting a business or getting a relationship or having certain accomplishments, passing certain tests, getting into a specific school. And the problem with that is that those are destinations. The question still remains is, once you've gotten that car, that house, that promotion, that income, that cash flow, what's next? What are we focused in on? Because that's really where kind of your mission in life, your own purpose, is far more important than a destination of something, right? So driving through this tiny town of Success, Arkansas, is just like it is in our lives, right? We get to a certain promotion, we get to a certain cash flow, we have a certain number of savings, and then the question is what's on the next horizon? What's up, baby? I am through Arkansas. I finally got some cell phone. There's probably like 2-3 hours of no cell phone coverage. I obviously have a snap that's like didn't fail to send. But that's what makes me think about oftentimes in regards to like we hit certain accomplishments in our life, and we're kind of trained this way if you grew up in some kind of Western civilization of education, right? Where there's now they call it graduating from kindergarten. There's no such thing in my opinion. If you don't graduate from kindergarten, you're going to have a much difficult life, way more difficult life in the United States than or Canada or wherever the place might be in Western society. But basically, we celebrate these accomplishments of passing tests, and after that, then we did you play high school sports, and then at what level did you get to, and then so we're always focused on hitting these certain destinations. When the problem with all those destinations is that the moment that they're achieved, it's done. So one of the examples he uses in Chop Wood, Carry Water is Andre Agassi and his quote of, when he got to number one, he thought his life would make more sense. He was number one tennis player in the world, and he didn't get there. Reminds me of Michael Phelps, right? Phenomenal swimmer, obviously. But then after the Chinese, the Beijing Olympics, and he had problems then with marijuana, and just kind of went off on the deep end a little bit. And he actually talked a little bit about it in the in the Rio Olympics, where he just found this really dark space. And the problem is because purpose didn't go beyond the Olympics. So all that training, all that devotion, all that time and attention for getting to the Olympics, accomplishing what he did, didn't give him more satisfaction, right? So it's the success, right? So getting to that car, getting to that job title, getting to that income, getting to that place, that house, getting to those relationships, the family, all that is not a destination, but it is. Because we put kind of our sights on it. We say, hey, I hope I get to this point. But in the moment that it hits, there's so much more beyond that. And it reminded me of, just recently was in this Lamaze class with my wife over the weekend, and they talked about how, childbearing, and that to me is just absolutely traumatizing, and just, it's exciting, and it's scary, and it's fun, but the moment that baby's born, that's when rubber hits the road. That's when the real stuff starts happening, right? That's when you're entrusted, the moment that you walk out that hospital, to care for this little one and to give it life and to hopefully give it as much meaning in their life as possible. And that, to me, is far more difficult, although I would never want to give labor, right? I will put that out there. I have no point of reference for that. I respect any woman that does that. I love my wife for what she's going to do in bringing life into the world, and literally like allowing her body to be the conduit to which this life form comes. I love my mom for that. Have a belly button to show our connection. But that's where the real stuff happens, right? That my wife and I are going to be far more devoted on giving this child an amazing life. And we hope it's way beyond anything materialistic, right? We hope we can develop character and confidence and a self-esteem and a desire to help others. We hope that's way more important to that child than giving life. Although it's extremely important, let me never take that away from what someone's been able to do. Your dedication is a part of your journey. Thanks, man. Yes. Dude, you have no idea. Yes, I have no idea. You're so right? We have no point of reference for it. And so, as a man, we have no point of reference. And so that's where I really think about like our different journeys in life. I know that anyone that kind of connects with me, we're going to find ourselves really just supporting each other in this journey we call life, right? And we're going to find ourselves in ups and downs. And overall, what we hope to find is that we slowly move upwards in the improvement of ourselves, right? And becoming a better version of ourselves, whether that's physically or spiritually, relationship-wise, like emotionally, mentally, whatever it is that we're in the pursuit of. And, it's interesting, there's that wonderful line in the pursuit of happiness. Not that happiness is a destination. I think for me, it's more the way that we live in life, right? Because I think we're often going to go through some really crappy moments in life. And the most important thing is how you and I decide to react to it, right? So, for example, car breaks down. How are we going to react to that in that moment? Am I going to lash out to the children that had nothing to do with it? I'm going to lash out to some kind of supreme being. I'm going to lash out to the manufacturer of Dodge or Firestone for the tires. No, I mean, there's no value in being able to lash out to anybody, really. I hopefully I have the skill sets to fix a tire. I was going to say rotate it. But then the most important thing. Hey, Amy, what's up, girl? Hope your recovery is spot on. And I would love to see some more the postings, the meal preparation. I love that. So I think oftentimes where we find ourselves is being dealt a hand, right? And we can cast some certain things in, just like, if you play, 5-card, I think let's call it 5-card draw. And I think you can turn in like 3, 2, or 1, or the entire 5 cards, right? And I think sometimes we can do that in life, right? We're like, okay, I don't want to deal with that one. Let's pass on it, right? Other ones we're going to totally take on, right? And we can't turn them back. And that's the hand that we got to play. Just be the best for you and your wife and your child and see what they, yeah, absolutely. That's exactly what we're doing. Hi, Josh, what's up, buddy? Merunik, what's up? Woo whoop. So that's really where I come from, that angle of, in thinking about how we can become better individuals for ourselves and understanding and allowing ourselves the freedom to be flawed and the understanding that that's just part of who we are, right? Like, I think oftentimes we get stuck in this realm that we think we need to be flawless in comparison to others, and that we have to be better in comparison to someone else. When in reality, we just need to be the best version of ourselves. And I know one of the most difficult things, especially in life, is to not compare yourself. Because in life, we've been compared to someone else throughout our lifetime, whatever that might mean, right? So whether that's in schooling, or that's in job, that's in promotion, that's in your own family, you're constantly comparing yourself to someone else, and there's just not a lot of value in comparing ourselves to someone else, because there's this old adage that you can't compare your chapter 1 to someone's chapter 13, right? So if you started your own business and you're like, oh man, Tony Robbins is such an amazing motivational speaker. I think about you, Brandon, right? Like, oh my gosh, Tony Robbins is so amazing. He's speaking to 5,000 people at a time, 10,000 people at a time. Well, Tony Robbins has been doing it for 25 years. Why would you compare his 25 years of day in, day out for 25 years and expect that your chapter 1 should fill up an entire coliseum, right? Like, it's okay to start at chapter 1. Because I'm a decent driver at this point, but I've been driving since I was 15 and a half, right? So I don't expect anybody that, and let's say they just, like my son, he when he turns 16, I don't expect him to be as good of a driver as me at that point, because I'll have over 25 years, I'll have like 35 years of driving experience more than he has. And that's just how life is. But oftentimes we beat ourselves up, don't we? We get frustrated. We say, oh my gosh, I wish I was more. I wish I had this. I wish I had that. And the problem of that wishing, now it's not a problem to say you want more, but the wishing makes you feel inadequate when we really aren't inadequate. You're just at a different spot in life. And so my family, and I think about this as I go visit my family, because I have an older brother. He's a year older than me, really successful at work. He's a partner at one of the big 4 accounting firms in the country. He's just 13 months older than me. Then I have another brother that's 3 years older than me, and then I have a younger sister who's 3 years younger than me. So between us, oldest to youngest, 4 kids, 6 years, right? And I found no value in ever comparing myself to them. Now, when I was younger, it was more difficult, but now that I'm older, I don't, because their story is not my story, and nor is my story their story. And so they get to be able to, we each need to figure out kind of where we're at in life. You can't control the situation, but you can control absolutely we control how we respond. Yes, I said the exact same thing the other day. Perfect. Great minds think alike, Amy. I'm on chapter 1 for sure. Yeah, we all are. Brandon, we're all on chapter 1 in something in our lives, right? So true. Chapter 1 is a great start. And the beauty of chapter 1, Brandon, is that a lot of people respect you very, very highly at chapter 1 when you're at chapter like 12 and you make a mistake that you should have made in chapter 1, they don't give you the same forgiveness. And not that you should make decisions based on other people, it's just that you're allowed to make some different mistakes in chapter 1 that people are going to be like, that's totally fine, make that mistake. But in chapter 12, they expect you to figure that out by now, right? And so that's the value. Let's see, I called you. Yeah, you did. Just been busy, man. Busy. But I'll call you after this, Joe. So in this rambling that these thoughts that I have, which kind of just ping pong in my mind, I'm often reminded that we have a tendency to compare ourselves to other people, or we don't give ourselves the slack to say, okay, you can get there, and it's okay that you're not there yet, right? So if, let's say, for example, Brandon, I'll just use the example, right? So you gave your 2 weeks notice, you're just jumping in full time, right? And now you're going to be like, okay, now you need to earn that income. And it's okay that you might start at a point of making $3,000 a month versus knowing that you want to make $10,000 a month, knowing that you eventually want to grow to $20,000 a month. It's okay to start at 1 and to start at 2 and then to grow to 3. And you need to give yourself the forgiveness and allow yourself that leeway. At the same time, have the confidence that there is a version of you, Brandon, that's 10 years from now, busted your hump, put your time in, and guess what? You're pulling in that income that you want off of your business, and you're extremely excited, extremely confident, and you look back on the 10-year younger version of yourself and you would say to yourself, you can do it, you can grab it, I'm here reaping your success, don't give up. And I'm reminded of, listening to a Netflix on the way down. It was one of the comedians, Hassan, and he's talking about it was probably one of the best inspirational and comedic performances I've heard in a very long time. Just a really cool story about how this guy from India, well, he actually was born and raised in California, Davis area, and how he for years went on the comedian circuit, right, and was hoping to make, turn things around and experience some racism throughout life, and that's just how life is, unfortunately, depending on what part of the country you live in. They can be more racist than others, and so that's just how things are. And for me, there's no value on dwelling any of that. It's just a fact of life. It's just where we are, and we might be able to leverage that as well. Like if I'm Brandon, I look at the space of motivational speakers and I go to myself, guess what? Not a lot of black dudes. I can crush it in there. Where the opposite perspective would be, well, I'm African American, so nobody's there, just a bunch of white dudes, so I'm not going to really do anything about it, right? No, go and crush it. Go and kill that, because, and the other thing that I'd say for almost anybody is that your story doesn't need to appeal to everyone. It just needs to appeal to a certain segment that's going to pay you money for it. That's all that you need, right? Like, I think the same thing about like anyone that's starting like a brand. You don't need it to be Nike or Under Armour. You just need like, what, 20 people to buy, no, not 20, maybe 100 people to buy your $20 t-shirt. Well, let's say profitability is $10 on a t-shirt. You get 10 people, that's 100. You get 100 people, that's 1,000. You get 1,000 people, that's 10,000, right? So I need 1,000 people to buy my shirt a month. That's it. Right? 120,000 people a year to buy a t-shirt. I don't need Kohl's. I don't need Walmart numbers. I just need my own numbers, right? And that's really where you start focusing in on, is that's what you're trying to get in front of, and that's who your story's going to resonate. It doesn't need to resonate the entire population of the United States, because the reality is not everybody's going to like it, right? Like, we all have our own stories. Man, I need to save this talk. This is so good, bro. I'll see if I can. Last time I actually said I'll save it, and it didn't give me the opportunity to save at the end of it. So that's really where my mind's coming on, guys, is that oftentimes we get derailed by focusing too heavily on the destination, when the character, the building of character, is far more valuable. And the other thing is, it's far more motivating beyond the destination, right? Because again, that destination, once we've gotten there, now what? Right? You had the kid. Now what? You gotta raise it. You gotta devote time. You gotta devote attention. You gotta sacrifice some of your own weekend to go watch that kid play soccer when you don't care about soccer at all. You were a baseball player growing up and you played at the college level and they love soccer. That's what you do. You sacrifice time for that, right? Or you got the promotion. Now you're a manager. You're gonna lead 25 people. Now what are you gonna do? Do you have the skill set? Do you have the leadership? You know, one of your employees doesn't want to fall in line with the project that you guys are headed on. How do you get that person to fall in line? And so the focus really is, how do you get yourself to the character that you want to be without beating yourself up, and at the same time having that balance of, or not balance, is basically having urgency to rip it out every single day, at the same time building for that future. And the one thing that I would say is, let's not assume we're going to have another day, right? I saw somebody say, hey, it's June, we have 30 more days. And I'm like, 30 days? What makes you think that you're going to be alive at the end of the 30 days? I sure don't. I'm grateful for every day that I have to spend it with the people that I care about, people that I love. And the reason why, I'm sorry, I got this drink. I'm avoiding soda. So I have this like a little powdered shake. It's got pomegranate lemonade. It's meant to be better for me, I suppose. So that's the burping. That's really where we focus in on for ourselves, is saying, okay, this is where I'm at, right? You are here on the map. This is where I want to go. I'm going to bust every single day as if I'm building it to where I want it to go. At the same time, I'm totally flexible if the market, if movements shift me in another way, right? So if I want to be a motivational speaker, right? Like my boy Brandon, and as I'm resonating with people, they're like, I need a book. And all of a sudden I say, you know what? I'm going to devote the next 3 months to create a book, right? Now all of a sudden it's something different. Or as I'm speaking, all of a sudden businesses come up to me, a couple of them, and say, hey, we would love for you to be able to put on a leadership program for our company. Can you create a leadership seminar? Absolutely I can. Do I have anything ready? No. Why don't we put that out in a month or two, and that'll give you enough preparation to be able to go home and create that leadership seminar. It's often said, take the job and then figure out how to do it. And that's really where allow the results to come the way that they come, and then that way you focus in on really becoming the best version of yourself. And what I find is, the moment that we find the best versions of ourselves and push ourselves towards that, what we find is that we're completely unique. Nobody's like you. And the funny thing about it is, throughout our lives, we've been pushed to fit in line. And luckily growing up, mom named me Sherman, and she pushed me to be totally unique. Just be you. And so when I was labeled as like a brash American, and all my teachers kept coming back and saying, Sherman's loud, Sherman's really, he needs to control himself, be quiet in class. My mom would tell me, be quiet in class, but be you, right? And I've always been me, unapologetically me. And sure, does that make me a little bit flawed sometimes, and that I may be a little stubborn? Sure. But at the same time, this is me. It's how I'm coming. And so at the same time, I know I've got flaws. I'm working at becoming better at my flaws, overcoming flaws, and there's certain flaws. Guess what? That's not changing. The lazy eye, not going away. The thinning hair, not going away. I enjoy working out, not going away. I'm kind of not I wouldn't say obsessed, but definitely I put it at the forefront of my mind. And so each of you, if I can be a sounding board to you, a supporter, a cyber cheerleader to you, please let me be that to you, because I'm a believer in human beings being at the top of that chain. And I'm a believer that people have a very unique story that people want to hear. People love the triumph over obstacles. And we love, especially if you're American, man, do we love the underdog story. We'll hear that story all the time. We love it. So as you pursue your life, let me help you be you. All right, buddy. Everybody, thanks for all your attention. If I can be of any value, please reach out to me. Peace. Hold on a second. I need to read these comments before I go. Like a tank. Yeah, Sherman saying that's exactly how it is. There you go. Thanks, Crazy Horse. Let's see. Thank you, Amy. Appreciate it. Hopefully I can save this, guys, and I'll upload it on YouTube tomorrow. Peace.
Tomorrow.